모든 건 변했다. 히트 시즌2.
Welcome back to the SPL guys here at the Nexon Arena. Oh, there we are on camera.
There we are.
Guys. We've had some crazy games so far. A couple of upsets. Zergs are ruling the day so far.
1-1 though, and 2 upsets back-to-back because Leenock was not supposed to win that matchup, but that gave almost this terrifying moment to Genera where it's like, okay, if Rogue messes this up, they could actually lose to TY and it would be all over. We'd only go to the 4th game. But Rogue did what he needed to do. He did almost the impossible, those positions with those comps. He made every correct decision. And now we're going into the highlight match of the night. I tweeted this earlier, I'm going to say it again. If you don't watch this live, if you're not watching this live, everybody you know and care about will be ashamed of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean,
on your
even the people...
He was a good guy, he was a really cool person, always helped others, but didn't watch Maru versus TY live. That's what it'll say on your tombstone if you're not here watching this right now, okay?
Even the people that don't know you are going to be ashamed of you.
That's right.
Those people out there that are watching this, you don't know them, they don't know you, they're ashamed of you.
I don't know how many viewers we have on Twitch, but I'm pretty sure it should be like 6 billion people or 7 billion people that we have in the world. There's a lot of people out there that are messing up right now, okay? There's a lot of people.
And we're ashamed of every single one of them. Don't get us wrong.
Unborn children in the womb should be listening to this right now. If you're pregnant right now, you put the baby up to the sound because it's gonna make them healthier.
Whoa! What have you done
for Maru? Okay, I feel it. He had an incredible performance. He's been doing nothing but incredible performances, miracle comebacks in every intense game. I have to vote for him here. You have to respect how well he's been doing recently. I vote for him.
But at the same time, it is very hard to vote against TY. We'll see how it goes down here. The biggest matchup of the night, Maru versus TY on King Sejong Station. Up here in the top left for the generic Green Wings, it is Maru.
And down to the bottom right, his opponent, it is TY. A single-time GSL finalist, lost to his teammate Zest, but he's been a long-time player. Now, I want to give this little anecdote from what happened earlier. We actually had different makeup people today. Now, one of the women that was doing makeup recognized TY. She was like, I used to work at NBC Game. I did the makeup of the players. I remember you. You were so young. You played for We Made Fox. She's like, I remember you. I was kind of a fan of you. You know, a makeup lady who actually worked in esports for so long and remembers TY. Such a recognizable face, even though before he was known as Baby and he was so young. And here we are years later. And Maru really is the new Baby. I mean, he's the young player, the young Terran who rose up. And I feel like there's so much storyline here between a player who's been around forever and grew up through Brood War and is now having success in StarCraft 2, and Maru, who was born into StarCraft 2. He started playing his first professional match at 13 years old in Korean Age, so he was like 12 years old. And now he's grown up for 6 years playing this game, and he's at the top as well. And this is an incredible TBT between 2 great minds and 2 mechanical powerhouses.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, especially on a map like this, King Sejong Station, I'm pretty sure all of the casters out here are in pretty much unanimous agreement that this is the best map that we've had for a very long time,
Absolutely.
if not the best ever. So it's one of the best matchups we could have had with 2 of the best players on the best map. Yep. So tell your friends to get in there if they're not in here yet, because they're going to be missing out.
Some of the best games of all time have happened on this map. I mentioned Flash versus DRG. A lot of people actually told me they went and watched that VOD and that they really enjoyed it after we mentioned that the other day. But so many incredible matches. It feels like the map to play on for such an important match. And of course, that's why they sent Maru and TY here, because they need their best player for that moment. Well, I guess maybe you could argue Zest is the best player, maybe not TY, but one of the best players. Yeah. Okay, they both went to the finals, all right. And I guess TY lost, so Zest is the best player. But this is going to be exciting. Now, obviously, there's a variation in builds already. Maru is going for his earlier Banshee tech, seemingly, although it could also be for an earlier drop into Banshees.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Maru, so it's kind of expected out of a player like this.
Yeah, and TY is taking the defensive approach, as usual, and will actually go ahead and reactor out some Hellions here, it seems to be.
Yeah. You were talking about the crazy matchups we had on this map. I remember BL versus TY happened, you know, over and over. Those guys played against each other a lot on this map. BL usually took it because he was just so good against Mech.
Yeah.
And Mech was the the build of the month, or rather the entire year probably.
It was the style of the era. You know,
Yeah.
there was an era of Mech, and what was that map? Terraform.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
You know, it was
No.
it was the worst of times. It was the worst of times.
Yeah.
But in really important, incredible moments, BL specifically was the defeater of Mech. Life as well had his moments there. So
Yeah. I mean, Leenock was pretty decent at it as well. There were some guys that would just come out. Roro was pretty good when he was playing, but that wasn't really the Mech era. I think he retired before that.
yeah.
But
This is a great Reaper Scout, by the way. It's going to let him know immediately that there's a dropship on the way. That Tech Lab was way too late on the starport for anything else. He's going to be set up to defend it, and it should do very little damage. Let's find out if TY is prepared. His units were actually out of position, but he does have a Viking here. And that Widow Mine will be baited. Nicely done. And look at this, man. He's made a ton of Hellions. I think he's going to put on some heavy counter pressure once this is really cleared up. Meanwhile, Maru is going for those delayed Banshees we talk about all the time. And to let this supply depot tank the Widow Mine.
yeah, I like this. I remember one player we had actually killed his own Hellion. That's not the best strat.
Yeah.
You're going to be making a supply depot anyway, so might as well go for that. Nice job by TY. And Maru, he didn't actually get the scan, or rather the Reaper Scout that TY did, so he has to commit to the scan here. And he, in fact, does see the Tech Lab building on the starport.
He is somewhat fearful of that counterattack. I think he's going to make a Cyclone here. He's taking a third base as well. Here's the counterwise scan, just to confirm what sort of tech is coming next, because the cloak comes after the Reaper, and that's a huge scout, because now he starts his own cloak. He might even cancel that and get a Raven.
That's what I thought he was going to do. I'm like, this is a great read by TY. He's going for a later Raven because he knows the drop came in and Maru's Banshees are going to be late, but it's Maru, so he's going to make Banshees. But it seems like TY wants to throw a wrench into things.
This Viking is so huge, by the way. It's going to really help zone this push out and take away the high ground vision. The Metamech's gone, and here comes the Banshee, though. He's going to have to use scans here.
And all those Hellions go down. They were all very, very low. No turret at all.
Yeah.
There's only one Viking. And on these positions, on this map, you can easily get away with that Banshee if there's only one Viking.
He's even using this Cyclone aggressively. And if that Cyclone gets vision, it might be able to do some harass here. It's also looking for the Banshee, just barely misses it. This is really interesting. I'm a bit disappointed that the turrets were that late, considering he scouted it.
Yeah, maybe he didn't have his engineering bay out in time or something. I didn't quite catch the timing there, but he definitely should have been much more prepared for that. Taking a little bit less damage, but he does hang on. The only thing I'm worried about now is that he scouts this third base, and he hasn't even thought about taking a third base.
That's the issue here. He was scouting and he was looking for Banshee tech. He was worried about harassment, but what you should have really been worried about is the economic advantage that Maru is taking here. There's a scan. He needs to maintain vision. It's going to be out of scan range.
Oh,
he
just barely on the edge there of that scan. And TY, he needs to get some damage done, especially because that third base is so late, and he makes it in the main, even with Maru having his own third base up and running.
And here's another issue we haven't even touched on yet. Maru is starting Stim, and TY is starting +1. Guess which upgrade's better? By far, it's Stim, okay? You guys didn't need me to tell you that, but that's going to be a big game changer coming up here when the first bio-based clashes do begin to start. Okay, this is good pressure. He needs to do something about this third base. He brings the Cyclone as well. He sieges up a tank. TY's signature solo siege tank here. And will help zone out the Cyclone. Even Vikings forced to land here.
Ooh, I like that. The scan to force the Banshee back. And Maru is just trying to brute force this, and I think he should be able to clean this up. Kind of a very small, weird attack there. He does have this Banshee in a nice position at the same time, doing a bit of damage.
Yep, and he has a second one coming to the natural. This is pressure to take Maru's attention away, to find extra damage elsewhere. And through all of this, TY has caught up. His CC is almost planted. Maru was basically not mining from that CC the almost entire time. It was only like mules and building SCVs. But look at the work count, it's almost dead even. Yes, TY doesn't have an orbital yet. He's going to have to make that, then move it. It's going to take a while. But again, the big problem here is that there's no stim. Where's the stim? He needs to get that. That's a quintessential upgrade. He absolutely needs it. Without it, he will not be able to take any bio-based engagement. None. And Maru is also ahead in upgrades. Once these two finish, he'll be an entire set ahead. So any bio-based engagement that happens is a loss for TY. He just now starts it as Maru finishes it.
Maru actually scanned the barracks going to the tech lab too, so he could have also gotten a read there like, hey, your stim is pretty late. If you're only switching to the tech lab now for your barracks, that doesn't really line up. So see what Maru wants to do. Oh man, there's no turret here.
Yeah, nice denial on that turret. Now he's actually just going to skim by it. He will need to move this Banshee in a second, but he's also microing this one against Vikings, forcing scans to be used. And
he's got 3 Banshees on the map, man.
And this is another problem because he had his third CC faster, but all those mules are actually not being used because he's having to use scans to try to eliminate Banshees, even failing to do that. Look at this, he gets away. He has to scan here again. This one should go down. Oh man, he gets away with this too. No way.
Yeah, looks like it.
Wow.
Just barely.
And these Banshees aren't doing incredible damage, like 3 kills here, 3 kills there, 2 kills there. But it's the pressure, it's the scans that are forced. That is the damage, really. It's not in SCVs, but it's deeper than that. 2-2 started immediately from Maru, despite everything, though. He's staying on top of his macro. His combat shields, again, finishing as TY starts his.
Maru's definitely,
if they don't fight, you know?
He's been a lot more solid, more fluid with his mechanics here in this game. His macro has really been on point. He's committed to those extra upgrades too, which TY's only got 1 engineering bay at this point, so he's only now finishing up +1 armor. And he still hasn't started a second one, so it doesn't even look like he has plans of going into double upgrades.
So I want to point out
there he goes. Actually, he does have a second engineering bay, sorry.
Maru built his barracks after TY. So everything I just described, actually, the more I look at it, is almost a moot point because it doesn't matter if he has 2-2 for 13 Marines or like 9 Marines he had a second ago, because he only has 9, and TY has 30 now to the 13. So because he built those barracks faster, he had Maru spent his money on, well, he had scans he had to drop, and he made 6 Vikings, and he still couldn't deal with the Banshees. Okay, I mean, this is pretty crazy, right? So TY still has the larger bioforce, but he does not have the combat shields. 8 seconds to go. It's about to finish. And we might have, starting to, in just a moment here, some of our first engagements by land.
This game is about to get a bit wonky because these guys are passing in the night. There's a big double drop on the left side of the map here for TY, and also a bunch of Marines out on the map. And he doesn't seem to have much defense at home.
He's going to pick off these depots. He spotted them earlier. This base is going to have to be canceled. But it does, oh, no cancel. It does spot, however, this push, and that's really important. He's going in, there's no turrets here. Maru a little bit slow on the response. Okay, here we go, Cyclone's locking on. A late siege.
The tank's getting hit there.
Oh, look at the flank from the top. He's got the flank from the top. He has a better Marine count. He's going in. Good micro here. Takes out the siege tank. And Vikings landing here on top. This is basically an even trade.
Oh, but now the Vikings are having to fight against these Marines, and they're all going down. Uh-oh, not really going the way he hoped, and look at this, another big drop into the third base. Those 2 medevacs still doing work in the main of Maru.
Maru's 2-2 is about to hit, but it didn't hit when it needed to hit right in that fight. It was basically, in some of the ways, an anti-timing there. Now it's finished. It's going to make the defense of this drop a little bit easier, but I don't think he'll be able to stop the drop and hold on to this 4th base. Let's see. Siege tank's here, but it's not sieged up. TY's going in, he's sniping medevacs. 1 goes down, nearly gets a second.
And he's got a follow-up attack where that came from as well. I'm just kind of curious where those tanks are at. He's only got 2, which is part of the problem. A lot of them were sniped in the attack there by Maru on the 3rd base.
Maru is really struggling to deal with this drop pressure because his army just simply isn't large enough yet in Marines. He's finally getting to the point where he's up there, but he's still 15 Marines behind. And that 15 Marine count is based on 2 medevacs that are harassing his main. He can't be both places at once. He's just simply outmanned. But with a few snipes here, he's even up the count. Nicely done, and he holds on to the 4th base. The most important moment here, he keeps the 4th base. This is such a tense game right now. The rocks are being broken. TY is looking to find even more ground-based pressure. Even sniping depots will start to add up. It's forcing his army to be in 2 places at once.
Yeah, I can't believe he still hasn't dealt with this drop.
He's going to take the fight. He had the concave, but he shouldn't have. He's still outmaneuvered here, or outnumbered, I should say, and Vikings as well with the army.
TY is out on the map once again. He's taking that 4th base, but Maru's going to have a really nice attack over here.
This is not enough, and he walks into the scan. He walks in the scan, he knows he doesn't have enough, and he's going to snipe this base. T1's army is out on the map, but it's out of position. It's not in position to punish anything. This move is too slow. It's too slow, and if Maru gets wind of this, he can even go back and defend. He doesn't know, though. TY needs to do equivalent damage with this army, but he's being too slow about it.
So many scans going down, trying to spot the army of TY, but there's a huge amount of Marines coming in here.
Oh, see, he has enough defense, and that siege tank is so valuable, so well placed, and Maru will defend this. He will defend this, and now he takes leaps and bounds a huge lead. His 3-3 is nearly finished as well. He's even adding additional barracks. He's like, I've got a fourth, and you don't. I will outproduce you. This army's going to go down as well. This is almost game-ending damage. TY can't be affording to lose his units. He needs to lift up. He needs to get out.
And he needs a fourth base too. I mean, Maru's had his own fourth base for such a long time.
That's an opportunity though. Look, he stims. He chases. The tanks are dropped. Maru's going to take the fight.
Oh, he hesitates. He backs off, and now he's just running away. But look at this. Now he's fighting out of the range of Maru's tanks, and he's going to take this fight easily.
Yeah, he fights out of range of the tanks. Very well said. All these medevacs here, there's so many of them, but it doesn't matter. They're just getting burst down by the tanks.
Oh,
and this
look at
gives
this.
TY an opportunity.
He doesn't have a boost. He just used it. But he is looking to go into that natural and at the same time perhaps go attack that third base.
He could wreck the production, but he commits to the natural instead. Not a bad choice. Might even be able to get this eBay.
Oh, he's going to come into it, and he denies the +3 armor.
Denied. Very important move here. And now Maru taking a cost-inefficient exchange. I love that TY just leaves the tanks there, allowing the retreat. He was going to lose them either way, but at least this way, he saves the majority of his army. Another counterattack over here will get shut down.
Not going to work. TY, he's trying to take this fort base at the moment, and he's long-distance mining. And what he has right now is a tempo advantage. Maru has a much bigger army, and if he just attacked, he would easily win the fight. But Maru's across the map. It looks like Maru wants to make his move now, though.
So many siege tanks. 10-3. This could be the killing blow. This could end the game. TY is starving for money. He's moved his main CC, but he's not been able to find a landed ground for it. And this is why most Terrans will take the high ground CC instead of the farther away one, because it's simply, you can attack it by ground, which Maru did and killed the CC. He had the high ground to defend his fort, so his stands.
The base trade is coming in, but it's not even going to be a base trade because Maru has enough defense, and he's at the bottom of the natural ramp here. Stimming up now. There are some tanks, but it's not enough. Not enough defense here for TY.
Looks like Maru is going to do it. He's going to take this game. TY can't accomplish anything. He's trying to come for a flank here. This will be the last fight of the game. Vision already given to Maru. He snipes the full medevac as well. The Jinner side of the studio goes wild here.
GG! Maru takes the win over TY. This guy, very close TVT.
This guy is, I think, the best Pro League player we have ever seen. This year, his dominance, his wins, his comebacks, this is flash-worthy, what we're watching right now. This guy is untouchable. No one can touch him. And I'm actually disappointed that you all voted for TY. What did we just witness? What did we just see? Maru, dominating fashion, wrecked TY, ripped him apart. And I think a lot of that game went down to Maru taking the more secure fourth base location. Much harder to attack by ground. TY tried and was unable to deny it, whereas his base he could not defend. It was too open. There's no high ground there. He took the base on the left side, Maru found it and punished it with well-placed scans. I talked about this actually with GTR when we were watching a live play. I think TBT right now, the better scans, the smarter scans, often shows the better player. And I think we saw some incredibly clever scans there by Maru yet again. You scan, that's going to give you the opportunity to snipe a base. That scan allows him to make that move.
For me, it just looked like Maru is the more solid macro player in general. You know, TY was almost trying too hard to get damage done, and he was like all over the place. Don't get me wrong, and he was getting some damage done, but it was not enough, and all the while Maru's like ahead in upgrades. He takes a much earlier fourth base. TY's doing too many things at once that he can't even focus on getting a fourth base. He tries twice, Maru shuts it down because he knows the timing. And he doesn't overcommit to all these harassments. Yeah. He just commits to one idea, which is shut down his fourth base, get mine early, and get ahead in the macro.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Take as little damage as possible from the harass.
Maru's game plan was late game based. He had the faster upgrades, but the later Marines. You know, TY committed to a heavy Marine count early, but he didn't have stim to utilize it. So he couldn't actually put that pressure on that he wanted to do.
And now we're going to go into SOS versus Stats, another mirror matchup, but this time between two Protosses. And this is probably the closest in terms of the predictions. It is a 4-3, if I remember correctly. I won't say who voted for who yet, But this is a very hard one to call. This
Yeah.
was actually one of the hardest ones, I think, after the Maru versus TY game. I did almost vote for Maru, as I did almost vote for Rogue too, funnily enough.
There were hard choices today. I mean,
it was so close.
I actually
for every match.
Today, I was the guy who posted the predictions in the chat. I was like getting it
You were
going.
the hype guy.
Because I was like too excited. I was like, all right, I'm thinking about this. I was thinking about this all night. I'm thinking about this all day. I'm like, all right, what is everybody thinking? I posted in there. Then after I posted, I was so excited to see what everybody said, but then I just didn't look because I'm like, nah, let's wait until that bar
Ooh.
comes up on the screen. That's what I was thinking.
That's an interesting strategy.
Yeah,
Post your own and then just keep it a secret. So
Yeah,
you're like,
I'm not
"Ooh,
looking
okay,
at
this is
anything."
interesting.
Yeah.
Now I kind of wish I didn't look, but
You know what?
I already
Also,
know.
let's be real for a second. In that group chat, if you're the first person to post, no one can ever doubt that you were influenced by someone else's
Yeah,
vote.
it's true.
So
It's
I was
true.
I was feeling that too. I'm like,
Sometimes you're the last person to vote. You're like, well, I was thinking about voting for this guy, but everybody voted for the other guy. So maybe I'm the wrong person here, and I should switch my vote.
with this, the current votes, since we have some downtime
I think you
here,
took the lead, Wolf,
I
with
took
that
the
one.
lead because only Monday Caster took a lead on the Rogue, and then I took the lead there in that Maru game. Nobody had faith. Wow. I can't believe nobody had faith.
TY is just so known for his TVT. You know, sometimes you look at these matchups and you're like, well, Maru, he hasn't looked invincible, right? TY just, he's doing better in the individual leagues by far. So it's like, but as you were saying before, I think it's a really good point. Maru's like the best Pro League player we have right now. We have most winning players up there, but they don't really take into account the ratios of these players. Maru's only lost one game, and it was like I think it was against Super. It was like a crazy,
He died to
weird
DTs
game
or something?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
just like a fluky game, and outside of that, he's just crushed everyone that he's played.
And, you talked about he's not as solid as TY in individual leagues, but we're in between the individual leagues. He had some trouble at the beginning, right? He didn't do well in Star League. He lost to Zest in Challenger for GSL, so he didn't actually qualify for Code S. So he had like a rough start, but in between, he became a god, and it happened here on this stage at Pro League.
It was Pro League.
Now Code S is starting up just next week.